In this video, we talk about the rumours and speculation of potential figures Hasbro plan to release from the new Mandalorian TV series, which airs on Disney Plus in November. Hey there Star Wars collectors, my name's Tim and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. As mentioned in the intro, I want to take a closer look at some of the characters from the new Mandalorian TV series and speculate on which figures we are likely to get as part of the vintage collection later this year and further into the future. So Triple Force Friday has been announced for the 4th of October, and if you didn't already know, multiple Star Wars collectibles will be released that day for Episode 9 The Rise of Skywalker, the Jedi Fallen Order video game and the Mandalorian TV series. And it's the latter that I want to talk about in this video, specifically what we can expect from the vintage collection. So I do think that we have a lot to get excited about when it comes to this TV series and the figures that could potentially be made. Due to the fact that it is set just 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, you will see that this series is very close to the original trilogy in its design, so we can hopefully expect some familiar looking characters. So before we move on to the first figure, drop a like down below to let me know that you're excited for this TV show, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for future Star Wars videos. So moving swiftly on to the first figure, and I'm convinced that we will likely get the main character himself, the Mandalorian, on Force Friday. As you can see by his armour, Hasbro more than likely have many of the sculpts from previously released characters, and therefore could quite quickly knock this one up. I also think this image here would most likely be used on the card back, due to it showing off the character pretty well, and also because the image was revealed quite a while ago now, and Hasbro would almost certainly have had access to it to put together the card art. Even though we are not actually sure how often the helmet is removed in the show, I really do hope that Hasbro produced this figure with a removable helmet, like they have done with other figures such as Jango Fett and various other clones. Hasbro know what the actor looks like and have hopefully seen some images or footage of him with the helmet removed, so at the end of the day I see no reason why they cannot produce this figure with a removable helmet. Next up we have Cara Jun. Now she is another one of the main characters who we will more than likely see as an action figure sooner rather than later. So according to Gina Carano, who is the actress who plays her, Cara Jun is an ex-rebel shock trooper. So we can safely assume that she can handle herself, and judging by the images, looks like she'll make an awesome action figure. She would no doubt come with the heavy blaster she was seen wielding in the footage shown at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, so hopefully this one we can expect in the vintage collection on Force Friday. The next potential figure I want to talk about is the character played by Giancarlo Esposito, which fans of the TV shows Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul may recognise. Now I'm not sure if we have a name for this character yet, but by judging by the footage we have seen and the fact that he is flying a TIE fighter, we can safely assume that he's going to be one of the bad guys. Now I have to admit I do like the look of this guy and think he would make a pretty good action figure. The interesting thing about this guy is his armour, but also the fact that in one scene he is flanked by death troopers. So I was thinking that perhaps he is a former director in the sort of director Krennic mould. Now I say former because from what I've seen in the footage and the fact that this is set after the Return of the Jedi, it seems like the remains of the Empire have almost gone underground. This is certainly the case with the regular stormtroopers that we see in this scene here. To me they look all a bit battered and a bit weathered, and to be honest, just look like they've just had it a bit rough for the last few years. And of course this opens the door for yet more stormtroopers, which is always good. Now I'm not sure if we'll get this guy on Force Friday itself, but I'm certain that he'll be a figure for the future, and quite possibly even with his TIE fighter, which looks slightly different to a regular TIE. If you can just see there on the image, seems to have like a grey half to it, if you like. So quite possibly we'll see more vehicles from the Mandalorian. And while we're on the subject of vehicles, the Mandalorian does have his own ship. Apparently it's called the Razor Crest. Again, I believe this will be an awesome addition to the vintage collection vehicles, and I'm really digging the design. It does remind me a little bit of something from the Halo franchise, but at the same time, if you look at the main body of the ship, you can most definitely see the influences from the Republic Gunships that we saw in Attack of the Clones and the Clone Wars. The Republic Gunship is one of my favourite ships from the Star Wars universe, so I'm naturally going to like the design of the Razor Crest, and can't wait to see it in action and hopefully as part of the vintage collection. Back to some more potential figures, and next up we have the character played by Carl Weathers. This guy is called Grief Marder, and judging by the footage and what we know already, he seems to be the leader of a bounty hunters guild. In the footage that we have seen, we've obviously seen him talk to the Mandalorian and basically offer him a job, so he seems to be like the middleman in between the actual people that do the jobs and the people that pay for the jobs. From a design point of view, this guy looks typical of the Star Wars universe, and I've no doubt we'll see him in the vintage collection in the near future. Again, maybe not on Force Friday, but certainly I feel he'll be one of the main characters that Lucasfilm and Hasbro will want to push out in the future. Another couple of interesting characters who seem to have fairly large roles and therefore could potentially be made into action figures are the two guys that are actually behind the hiring of the Mandalorian. Now, they are obviously trying to find somebody, and here we have two characters which seem to differ in opinion on whether the person they are looking for can be brought back dead or alive. So this doctor stroke scientist fella seems to want to make sure that whoever they are after is brought back alive, whereas the other guy seems to think that dead will be just fine. Again, just two characters that we could potentially see as part of the vintage collection in the future, but almost certainly not on Force Friday. As I mentioned earlier in the video, the Mandalorian really does have the look and feel of the original trilogy, so we were treated to some footage which contains some familiar creatures and aliens. We saw Jawas, Trandoshans, obviously I'm a particular favourite of this one, a Twi'lek, a Rodian, and plenty of other Cantina patrons. We even saw some captured Kowakian monkey lizards. And we also saw a shock trooper or flame trooper who has the red markings on his helmet. Now, he would most certainly make a great addition to the vintage collection. We also saw some concept art of Dewbacks, scout troopers with their speeder bikes, and of course a very cool looking assassin droid who looks like IG-88 but has since been confirmed by Jon Favreau not to be the actual IG-88. So I'm sure you will all agree that there is so much to look forward to with all the new Star Wars content and the figures and vehicles that will no doubt follow. I can't wait for October the 4th when we should get a really good wave of vintage collection figures, which I'm sure will include characters from The Mandalorian. What do you guys think? And what are you most looking forward to? Let me know in the comments below. And again, as always, thank you very much for watching this video, and we shall see you on the next one.